Hello guys and welcome to the Starbucks presentation tutorial. In this tutorial I will show you how to create a presentation like this. It's very simple and it's gonna take less than 30 minutes, so let's get right into it. So we're gonna start by inserting this picture from the original presentation. It's just the circle picture, you can make it yourself, but for now let's just insert it. So once you inserted it, now we have to draw a few circles. So starting off with a circle, let's go to insert, let's go to shapes and let's select this circle. Now we have to insert it right here, about this size. So once you have inserted the circle, let's go to right click, format shape, let's select a no fill and let's select a line. So we have to choose a green line, let's pick this one. Now we have to make the transparency 77 and we have to make the width 87. So let's make it. So once we have it, let's make sure it's smaller. So holding shift, make it a bit smaller, just right here. So it's gonna fit the smaller circle. Once you have done this, let's copy a picture from our original slides. So this is small circle. You can find it by dragging these two elements. So now let's just copy it in here and now we have a small circle in the middle. Now what we have to do next is duplicate the slide. So Ctrl D, or you can right click and select duplicate slide. So what we have to do now is click on this picture. Let's go to picture format and let's select a color. And now we have to select a grayscale. So after selecting it, it will be white. And what we have to do next is make it bigger. So let's make it a lot bigger, just like this. And make sure it's in the middle. So what we have to do now is select this circle. Let's stretch it a bit, even more. And let's locate the middle. Once you've done this, let's go to format shape. Let's go to solid line. And now we can make the transparency a 66 and let's make the width a 6.75 and let's select a dash type, this one. Now let's place it in the middle, just like this, and we don't need this circle, so let's just remove it. And now let's copy the logo from our original file. The logo and the file will be attached to this tutorial, so let's just copy it and place it in the middle. So it's gotta look like this. Maybe the circle is a little bit too big, so let's make it smaller. And let's rotate it a bit so it will create a nice effect. So once you have done this, you can make this little bit smaller, just make sure it looks good right here. So if it matches and you like how it looks, so once you have done this, let's go to the transitions tab and let's select a morph. So now let's look at the results. Cool, right? So moving on to the third slide, what we have to do is duplicate this one. And now we don't need this thing, so let's just remove it. And what we have to do next is move the logo to the left. Make it just a little bit smaller. Now let's select this circle, let's stretch it over the slide. So it's gotta be somewhere here. Make sure it's almost in the middle. And now let's go to format shape. Now we can make the width a 87 and let's just leave it right here. It's gonna be alright. So what we have to do next is change the background. So let's right click, format background, and let's select a dark green color. Now we have to insert a rounded rectangle in the left side. So just like this, somewhere here, and let's send it to back. And what we have to do next is select a white shape fill, remove the outline. And what we have to do next is just copy the text from our original presentation. So it's very simple. I'm not gonna show how to write it. So once you did it, what we have to do is go to the previous slide and let's copy this rectangle. So let's go back, let's paste it, and let's move it to the left side. So once you have copied the rectangle, let's look at the results. It should look like this. So guys, now let's make the fourth slide. Let's duplicate this one. And what we have to do next is remove the circle, select both of these and move them to the left side, just like this. Now let's remove the text, we don't need it. Remove the text, we don't need it. And we have to insert a big rectangle on the right side. So just like this, it has to be right here, cover almost 80% of the slide. And let's pick a same dark green fill. Let's remove the outline, right click, format background, and let's change the background color to somewhat dark gray. Could be this one or even darker, so just like this. So now let's insert a 3D model. So let's go to insert, find a 3D models, go to stock 3D models, and let's type laptop. Perfect, we have a ton of laptops to choose from, so you can choose the one you like. So once it have inserted, let's rotate it a bit. Let's make it a little bit smaller. And it's gotta be just right here. We can even adjust it a bit. So let's copy the original picture from the original file. Let's copy our text from the original file. It's just a simple text, and let's now go to the animations. So let's click on animations tab and let's select a picture, and we have to select a fade on it. Just like this. And it has to start with previous, and the durations has to be 50 milliseconds. Now let's go back. Now let's go to animations pane, and we can see the animations have already applied because I copied them. But to be clear, the text box is a fly in animation, so you have to click on the fly in. And this text is also a fly in, so let's apply a fly in. So this one shows on the main text. Go to effect options and let's select from the top. Now let's go back to the bottom one and let's select fly in. It has to come from bottom. Now let's adjust everything here. So the first text, the main text header, has to come with previous. The other one has to come after previous. Also, there is just circle and a text in the middle, and they have a fade and a pulse animations. They all come after previous, and the duration is 50 seconds. So let's play all. This is how it should look like. The pulse makes that little clicking animation. But to make things look better, we have to copy this shape and the laptop. Let's Ctrl C, let's go back, and let's copy them here. So now let's make the laptop smaller and let's rotate it just like this. Now let's place it in the left corner. And now let's select this shape and place it right here. So if we then look at it again, this is how it should look like. So now let's make the fifth slide. What we have to do is duplicate this one. And let's delete this one. Let's delete the text. Let's delete the text. And now let's delete this photo too. And now what we have to do is rotate the laptop a bit, make it a little bit smaller, that it will fit in the slide, just like this. Now let's make the background dark green. So now let's copy the text from the original file, just like this. And now we have to insert a rectangle on the bottom, so just right here, a little bit higher. And let's change the fill, so let's pick this light yellow color, no line, and let's send it to back. Just like this. And now we have to insert a rounded rectangle. So let's go to insert. Let's pick a rounded rectangle and let's insert it in the bottom. Let's make it a little bit wider and let's round the corners with that yellow dot. Now it has to be also dark green, but let's make the transparency 60. And let's remove the line. So once you have it, you should place it at the bottom, somewhere right here. And now what we have to do is insert a yellow line. So let's just copy it and let's insert it here. Now what we have to do lastly is copy the picture from the original file and let's insert it on the laptop screen. So just make sure you place the laptop exactly on the picture. And lastly, we have to insert a circle. Just right here. Right click, format shape, let's select no fill, let's select a solid line, let's select this yellow color, let's make the dash type like in the previous ones, or maybe it's a bit too light, let's make it darker, and we can make the width like 8. And the transparency has to be like 60, or the transparency can be 60 or 80, it's up to you. Let's keep it at 70. And let's make it a little bit smaller. So one last thing is copy this rounded rectangle, place it on the top, and let's make it smaller. So now let's make the 6th slide. So what we have to do is duplicate this one, Ctrl D, and what we have to do next is remove this photo. And now let's move the laptop to the top and let's rotate it a bit, just like this. Now we don't need this one, so let's just remove it. And what we have to do next is move it down and also move this one down too. Now we don't need this circle and we don't need this text and this text. So now let's take the circle we had in the left corner, let's make it bigger and let's place it in the middle. Somewhere like this, let's make it a little bit smaller. Yeah, this could work. Now we can adjust the width a bit, so let's go to the format shape and let's select a width of 10 and let's select a bit lighter yellow color, just like this. Now what we have to do next is copy the original text, so Ctrl V. So now let's paste the photos from the original presentation, so copy paste, and what is there is just a simple shape. It's just a simple shape with a photo inside. So what you can do is change the photo, so right click, change picture. You can select any picture you like to, so you can change it to any picture and it will work for sure. So if you want to put your own pictures, you can insert a picture. If it doesn't look right, go to crop on the top and then you can adjust the picture to fit it perfectly. So for now, let's save them to the coffee mugs. And what we have to do next is duplicate this slide. Now in this one, what we have to do is select all of these. So holding Control, select them and move them to the left corner. So only half of them is visible, just like this. And now we have to copy our text. So let's just paste the data. As you can see, it's a bit further from the side. So let's also move all of this to fit the screen, just like this. And what we have to do next is move this shape a little bit to the left, so probably right here. Now we don't need this product text, and we have to insert a original photo from our presentation. So it's this one. And now what we have to do is insert a rounded rectangle. So let's select a rounded rectangle and let's insert it to fit this photo. So just a little bit here. And now let's send it to back. It has to be slightly here. And now let's send this circle to back. What we have to do next is select this one, go to the format shape. Now let's select a white color, and we don't need no outline. Let's remove it. So once you have it, make sure it aligns perfectly with the photo. It's a little bit bigger, so let's make it smaller, and let's move it a little bit right here. Perfect. Now what we have to do is insert a text, so I'll just copy it. It's gotta be right here. The photo is about here. And now there's a little bit more text, so let's just copy it right here. And a little bit text down here. And now we have to insert a yellow arrow, so let's go to shapes and let's find this shape. Let's insert it right here, just like this. And we have to change the fill, so I will go with yellow color and let's remove the outline. Make sure it's in the middle and let's move it a bit to the right side. So this is how it should look like. So once you have done this, what we have to do next is take this photo and move it slightly forward. Just like this. So it's gotta be just a little bit forward. And what we have to do next is copy this coffee photo and paste it in this slide. So let's paste it and move it to the right side. Just like this. Now if we go back, what we have to do is duplicate the slide. And now let's change the number to 02 and let's rotate this arrow just like this. What we have to do next is select all of these photos, but first let's move it back, just right here, and let's select all of these photos, holding Control. Now what we have to do is right click, group, so group them. Now we can rotate it, so just like that, rotate it. Once you've done this, right click, group, ungroup, and now we can move this little bit to the right side, just like this. So now we can change the photo. Let's select a new one, paste it, and there we have it. So to have a cool animation, we have to paste this picture also in the previous slide. So let's copy it and let's paste it right here, and let's move it to the right side. We also have to send it to back, just like this. Now we can do the last slide, so let's duplicate this one. It's everything simple. Let's move it back. Also just group them. Now we can move everything with a simple button. Let's ungroup them and let's move it to the right side, just like this. Now let's change the numbers and we can also rotate the arrow. Now we don't need this photo, so let's select a new one. And let's copy it in the previous slide and send it to back. And once you've done everything, you have all of these 3 slides. What we have to do is go back, select this wheel. So let's select every photo. Now let's copy them and paste them in this slide. Once you've done this, move them down, just right here, and let's rotate each of them. So one in this side, other to the other one. So just like this. like almost all facing the top. And let's make all of them smaller. So thank you guys for watching. I will show you what the results look like. And if you followed everything through, you should have an amazing presentation. So thank you, and let's look at the results.